Hey everybody, Grove Church. Thank you for taking just a couple minutes to check out this video. I'll be brief, but I want to start by just celebrating something on the front end. The last few weeks have just been absolutely some of my favorite times of us gathering together on Sunday mornings. Really kicked off, I guess, with Resurrection Easter Sunday, and that continued on last week. There is just a great spirit in our gatherings. God's presence is with us. And so for those of you who are feeling comfortable coming back and reconnecting, it's been so great to see returning faces and new faces. So with what God is doing with our Sunday gatherings, I just wanted to take just a moment and kind of speak into our gatherings, and those of you that are connecting with us, give you a word of encouragement, but also invitation and challenge at the same time. So real quickly, I want you to think back to some of the family gatherings that you've had, maybe around Christmas time or Thanksgiving, and we missed that last year. It probably looked a little different for all of us getting to have those family moments, but you think back in the past when you've had those and it's looked normal. Sometimes maybe it's your family gatherings are really big, sometimes they're really small, but here's what I've noticed in some of my family gatherings is that sometimes in those gatherings, one person can do almost everything, and it ends up everybody else just kind of shows up, comes, and they eat the food. They consume everything that's there. But you see those few people who are kind of exhausted. It's like they fixed all the food, and then they're so tired they don't even want to eat it. Maybe that's been you. Maybe you've been on that end of it. Or maybe you've been on the recipient end. But some of my favorite family gatherings, though, are the ones where we just all kind of come together and everyone chips in. And so what that does is it makes sure that a few things happen. First of all, it makes sure that everyone's able to enjoy the gathering. No one is too stressed. No one's too overworked. It's this idea that we all share the responsibility. That's a great thing. Also, it makes sure that everyone focuses on sharing the responsibility. So in that, it means that no one gets too focused on showing up and just being served or having everything kind of handed to them. And then on the other side, it allows us to make sure that the goal of our family gathering, which is conversation and connection and relationships, doesn't get lost in the midst of everything else that may be going on. So it's so important. You've probably realized that in your family gatherings, just personally. And so why am I talking about family? Why am I talking about that in context of the Grove? Well, as our Sunday gatherings are beginning to pick up, it creates a great opportunity for us to think about why do we gather on Sundays and what is our purpose in that? Well, here's what I like to think of it. I like to think of our Sunday gatherings as our family coming together. It's a celebration. It's a time for us to feast, maybe not on physical food necessarily, but to feast and enjoy all that God has for us. And what can easily happen, and honestly what happens a lot of times in most churches, is that too few of the people end up doing too much of the work. Because anytime there's a gathering, regardless of how big or small it is, you'll find bigger gatherings around Knoxville on Sundays, and you'll find smaller gatherings in ours. But regardless, anytime there's a gathering, there are things that have to be accomplished so that the purpose of the gathering can happen. So for us, and the purpose of our gatherings is we want to help challenge people to take their next steps of faith with Jesus. We want to create an environment where the Holy Spirit can work and move and where that can happen. So that's our heart as the Grove. So here, that's the word of just kind of reminder and vision. But here's a word of invitation and challenge that I want to extend to every single one of you. And if you consider the Grove Church to be your church, or you're settling in with us, I want you to think about our Sunday gatherings as the family coming together. And here's one thing we need to make sure that we're doing as we move forward. We need the family to be serving the family. And sometimes God brings a guest to our family gathering. And so we want to be prepared to welcome in those guests as best we can, but we also want to make sure that the family's serving the family, so no one is carrying too much of the responsibility. So here's the word of challenge. Several of you, many of you, dozens of you, you're already serving one time a month with the Grove. You help at our family gatherings to make those possible. You chip in and you do your part in various ways, and there's several of you who serve more than one time a month. But here's my word of invitation and challenge. If you are not serving in some capacity at our family gatherings on Sundays, I want to invite you to take that step to do that one time per month. But hear the heart in this. We don't want you to just fill a spot. We want you to consider how you can come, bring a gift, bring a passion, bring something that feels natural to you, and allow God to work through that so that everyone can experience our purpose of our family gatherings. And so I want to invite you to take that step. And there are some immediate needs, really, where you could jump in and get going right away with that. Our tech team's looking for people who could help create that worship service experience where people are free from distraction. They have the resources in front of them that are needed just to be able to celebrate Jesus. And whether maybe it's you clicking through the slides so that the lyrics appear on the screen, that's such a huge role because you're creating a moment by doing that where people can sing songs out and declare those words to God and prepare their hearts for next steps with Him. Our Grove kids, as you love on kids. Now, if you don't like kids, that's okay. Like, we're not trying to guilt anybody into kids ministry. But if you love kids and you love Jesus, you get an opportunity to help our kids think about their next steps of faith with Jesus. But you're also serving the moms and dads and the grandparents who will drop their kids in our kids ministry and have an hour to 75 minutes of being freed up to hear from God and think about their next steps for themselves and for their family. What about our greeting team or our hospitality team? You get to create those moments, those encounters with people that just put them at ease, especially as we have maybe first-time guests who are coming to our family gathering on Sunday. You get to put them at ease with a warm smile or just acknowledgement and recognizing them, and that goes such a long way. You could probably think back to how that just puts you at ease, maybe the first time that you've attended a church gathering and just being welcomed and what that means. So that's the invitation. We need some people to step up. It's a great opportunity to help make our family Sunday church gatherings all that they can be. And so for us, Sunday mornings is not what we center everything around, but it is a big part of what we do as a church. And so we want our family gatherings to be as great as possible. So a simple next step that I want to invite you to take is right here. All I need you to do is go to thegroveknox.org/volunteer. Okay, thegroveknox.org/volunteer, and just sign up. We're only asking for one time a month, and if we all can chip in and do that, we'll make sure that our family gatherings thrive, that we create an atmosphere where everyone's sharing their responsibility, and we give God the greatest chance in the opportunity of our Sunday gatherings to move and stir and challenge us all to take our next step with Jesus. So will you prayerfully consider and think about what this would look like for you, how you can take this next step, and maybe it's one of the opportunities that I mentioned. Maybe it's an opportunity that's listed on that website. Maybe you have a fresh idea and you're like, hey, it's none of these, but I've got a fresh idea. Whatever it is, let God lead you in that, and I look forward to celebrating how we continue to grow as a church, both in our gatherings on Sunday and the way that we scatter out together and live for God's glory and His mission as we live, work, and play.